Hi, I wanted to give you a little behind the curtain sneak peek of what's been going on with the development of my podcast. And some of you may have been wondering, so Susan, why are you starting a podcast and now, and why on happiness? um, it's a long story, and it's not something that I've really always shared with a lot of people, but this has been something that's been going on for many years internally that I have not really let on to family and friends. I mean, you might have gotten a little sneak peek of that from me here and there, depending on how comfortable I felt saying what was kind of going on the inside. But I had a definite struggle of combining who people knew me to be and who I wanted to be, the authentic side of me. So a little backstory. I'll try not to go too far back, and if I go back really far, I'll try to be brave. But when and I'm gonna go 54 and I'm going back to middle school, so we all have baggage back in middle school. I got very shy. I got heavy. I gained some weight. I got glasses, got my hair cut off. I hated myself. I went into a shell, and I hated it there. I was very embarrassed. I just started to do, going into high school, everything I could do to shed that ugliness that I felt like I had in middle school. So I was striving for perfection, to be as good as I could be in anything that I was. I had to be the best in band. I had the best student. I had to, I grew my hair out and got contacts and tried to lose weight. Did everything to perfect myself so that people would like me. But that backfired. I still was trying to discover what to do. I mean, I was a shy person, and I was striving for excellence, but people couldn't approach me. I couldn't approach them. I still felt very alone, except for a few close friends. And then in college, I was like, oh, clean break. I can kind of be myself. And I felt a little better then. But I was in that mindset of, okay, you've got to go to college. You got to do the thing that everybody else is doing. Go to college, get a degree, graduate, get a job, have a career, get married, have kids. So I did all that. And, graduated from college with honors, got married right away, had kids 5 years later, stay-at-home mom, had a nice house, car, 2 kids, dog, cat. And I had lost who I was. I didn't even know. I had so far away from who I was. I was somebody's wife. I was somebody's mother. I didn't have my identity anymore. I didn't even know where to start. And the next thing I knew, I had lost all of that. I was a single mom. And some of it was by choice. But I knew there needed to be a change. And I totally turned my life into a completely different direction. Made a lot of decisions that people questioned me about. But it was hard. Next thing I knew, I was bankrupt on food stamps and in a lot of debt, and wondered, okay, now where from here? So I just started grasping at straws to find anything to get me where I wanted. And what I wanted was, I wanted abundance and ease and grace and true happiness. And I don't know where to start, but I was like, I'm open-minded. I thought, well, I think the best thing that I did for myself was to realize I had limiting beliefs. And there was things that I knew on the surface that I shouldn't believe in anymore. That maybe being an entrepreneur someday might be something I want to do. There was a lot of personal beliefs that wasn't serving me, but they were hard to get rid of. And so I searched all these different ways to help shed some of those beliefs. And I had a lot of them. A lot. I mean, when you come from a small town, you grow up just, Christian, and you got to be a good girl, and all these traditions and things like that. I had to shed some of those and just start loving who I was, or try. It took a long time to actually love me. I mean, I'm still working on that. I've probably grown more in the last year than I have in the last 10 years, because it was 2009 that I really started my journey and my spiritual journey, and as I went along, I read all sorts of books, went to a lot of retreats, listened to a lot of different podcasts and YouTube channels, and I've dabbled in all sorts of different things just to see where I could find the happiness. And things started, and I'll tell you about this, along the way, but it brought me to, all of a sudden I had an epiphany that I really like talking to other like-minded people who have gone through a journey similar to mine, have realized how to discover true happiness and stay there most of the time, and really be able to step into a place where they can serve others. And I thought, what better way to talk to all these people is to have them on a show and like a podcast. There's a lot more to the story, but when I took a course on how to create a podcast, and I've gone through life coaching and other things that have helped me grow and step out of my comfort zone and into something crazy and new. I've got lots of plans, but this class that I took has pushed me to finally step into it now, like create happy now. And so I set the date of my podcast launch, and there was a lot to do. And I have been working nonstop around the clock, outside of work and outside of sleeping. I have been working on this. There's going to be a lot of mistakes that I made. And what I learned is imperfect action. And that's kind of hard to do for a perfectionist girl who's got that as an operating system running all the time. So I've had to override that quite a bit lately. And it's been very rewarding to let go of that. I mean, I've let go of a lot of things, but letting go of that to really push myself to get myself out there to have the voice that I've wanted. And I've got a long way to go. There's a lot of things that I have that I want to say on the inside, so it will come out eventually. But I have so much enjoyed talking to all of my guests. They're so inspiring. I've got some on the waiting list that I still have yet to interview, so I've got several months worth of guests coming on this show. I have been so excited about this that I'm really hoping to have a lot of listeners come on so that they can actually feel and experience what I have been able to experience and what my guests have been able to experience, because it's a happiness that is kind of, you know, like the weebles wobble but they don't fall down. That's kind of where it is. I mean, I might have like a day that's not so happy, or I might have something that irritates me or makes me angry or whatever, but I can snap out of it pretty quickly and let it go and not let it really get in really deep. And I've got so many things that are now just flowing so much more easily. I mean, I've gone from being on food stamps and a single mom to owning my own home and driving my dream car and having a great relationship, and you know, just things are just flowing so much more easily. The job that I got in this last year has afforded me to be able to work on this for this last year, to gain clarity and know what I wanted to do and get the certifications that I wanted to get. And so this is my final step out of my comfort zone. And I just want to thank you all for all of the support. I'm really, really surprised of everybody that has said that will help out on the day of the launch. And I want to share a lot more of my story and get into the raw of it, because a lot of that is very hard for me, and I want to be vulnerable so you'll know, like, the things that got me where I am, because I haven't always let everybody know some of the trials and tribulations that I went through because of that perfectionist and part of me, and the people pleasing, and the person that's afraid to afraid to know what people are going to think. So I will hide those items. So a lot of that will be revealed on the show in the future when I do some of the monologue episodes. But to begin with, I think you really enjoy a lot of the guests that I have. They've gone through a lot of the journey that I have, very, very similar. As a matter of fact, Christine Cadaggio is pretty much right in line with my story. But I've been working really hard, and I've enjoyed it so much. And working hard is so much different when you're on fire with passion and enjoying what you're doing. I mean, I would think, I'm going to do this. I mean, I'm not even making money with this yet, So I would do this for free, um, because I just want everybody to be happy and find the ease and flow and grace that is possible. So I look forward to the podcast launch on the 21st. And I just want to thank you in advance for going on to iTunes and leaving a review. And if you have some time to subscribe and rate it as well, that would be great. So I'd really like to get it ranked so that I get organic traffic, so that we'll have more listeners find the podcast, and they can also enjoy the guests that I will have on the show, and maybe find some inspiration and some guidance so that they can start their journey on their ability to master happiness. So thank you so much. And this is really hard for me. And it's hard because about 3 months ago, I didn't even want to do a video that people wouldn't even see. So the fact that I am doing a podcast and I'm making this video right now, you don't realize, I mean, this is like me not knowing how to swim and jumping into the deep end and having the faith that I will be okay. And but right now, like, I'm excited. I'm excited to jump in, feel the warmth of the water, learn how to swim quickly, and if I need help, I know where to find it. So tune in on Tuesday, and I thank you again for all your support.